You know that moment when your grandchild looks up at you with those bright, trusting eyes, and you realize you have this incredible opportunity to be their hero, their safe harbor, their keeper of stories? But maybe lately, you've been feeling like there's a growing distance. They're glued to their phones, conversations feel forced, or you worry you're becoming just another obligation in their busy lives. What if I told you that after 60, you actually have superpowers when it comes to connecting with your grandchildren? Tonight, I'm sharing 7 simple habits that will transform you from just grandma or grandpa into their favorite person in the world. Before we dive in, if you're someone who believes that grandparents can be game changers in their grandchildren's lives, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Your support means everything to me, and I promise every video will give you practical ways to strengthen the bonds that matter most. Let's start. Habit number 1. Create sacred weekly rituals together. Let me tell you about my friend Margaret. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m., her 8-year-old grandson Tommy would burst through her front door, not for candy or toys, but for their special baking hour. They'd make cookies, sure, but more importantly, they'd talk about everything under the sun. Tommy is now 16, plays football, has a girlfriend, and guess what? He still shows up every Tuesday at 4 p.m. That's the power of sacred rituals. Creating a weekly ritual with your grandchild isn't about being fancy or expensive. It's about consistency and making them feel like they have a special place in your world that belongs only to them. Maybe it's Saturday morning pancakes where you let them flip the pancakes and mess up the kitchen. Perhaps it's Thursday evening walks around the neighborhood where you point out birds and they tell you about school drama. Or it could be Sunday afternoon puzzle time where you work together on a 1,000-piece masterpiece. The magic happens in the anticipation. When your grandchild knows that every week, no matter what chaos is happening in their life, they have this one constant, this one person who will be there, ready to focus entirely on them, it creates a security that goes deeper than you can imagine. They start planning what they'll tell you during your special time. They look forward to it when school gets tough or friends are mean. But here's what you need to understand about rituals. They have to be sacred. That means you don't cancel unless there's a real emergency. You don't invite other people without asking. You don't multitask or check your phone. This time belongs to both of you, and protecting it shows your grandchild that they matter more than anything else in your schedule. The beauty of having a regular ritual is that it removes the pressure of constantly thinking of new activities. You both know what to expect, but within that structure, natural conversations and spontaneous moments happen. Some days they'll want to talk your ear off, other days they'll be quiet and just enjoy your presence. Both are perfect. Start simple. Ask your grandchild what they'd like to do together on a regular basis. Maybe they love crafts, or they're curious about cooking, or they just want to sit and color while you read nearby. The activity matters less than the commitment. Once you establish your ritual, stick to it religiously. Your grandchild will begin to count on this time, and that counting on you builds trust in ways that surprise visits or random activities simply cannot. I've seen grandparents worry that their grandchildren will outgrow these rituals, especially as they become teenagers. But what actually happens is the ritual evolves. The 8-year-old who wanted to bake cookies becomes the teenager who still shows up, but now talks about college applications while you frost cupcakes together. The activity might change slightly, but the sacred time remains. Remember, you're not trying to entertain them for hours. You're creating a dependable touchstone in their week where they know they're valued, heard, and loved unconditionally. In our fast-paced world, this kind of consistency is a gift that will shape how they approach relationships for the rest of their lives. Habit number 2, become a master storyteller of family history. 550 words. Your grandchildren are hungry for stories, even if they don't know it yet. They're growing up in a world of instant everything, but what they're truly craving is connection to something deeper, something that explains who they are and where they come from. You hold the key to their identity in your memories. Think about this. You are literally a living history book. You've witnessed decades of change, survive challenges they can't imagine, and you know secrets about their parents that make those adults seem human and relatable. When you share these stories, you're not just entertaining your grandchildren, you're giving them roots. But there's an art to storytelling that goes beyond just recounting facts. The best family stories are the ones that reveal character, show struggle and triumph, and help your grandchildren understand that every family has its heroes and its challenges. Don't just tell them that their grandfather worked hard. Tell them about the time he walked 5 miles to work in a snowstorm because the family needed every penny, and how he came home with ice in his beard but still helped you with homework. Start with the stories that show your grandchildren that their parents were once kids who got in trouble, made mistakes, and learned lessons. Tell them about the time their mom tried to dye her hair with Kool-Aid, or how their dad once brought home a stray cat and hid it in his closet for 3 days. These stories make their parents real people, not just authority figures. But don't stop with the funny stories. Share the meaningful ones too. Tell them about the family members who showed courage during difficult times. Explain how your own grandparents met, what jobs people had, how different life was when you were young. Help them understand that they're part of a long line of people who faced challenges and found ways to overcome them. The key to great storytelling is details. Don't just say you lived through hard times. Describe what the house smelled like, what you ate for dinner, how you felt when something important happened. Paint pictures with your words. When you tell them about your first car, describe the color, the sound it made, the feeling of freedom when you first drove it alone. Make yourself the flawed hero of some stories. Tell them about times you made mistakes and what you learned. This shows them that making mistakes is part of growing up, and that even grandparents were once young and uncertain. Share the time you got in trouble at school, or how nervous you were on your first date, or the job you were terrible at before you found your calling. Create a storytelling ritual. Maybe it's bedtime stories about family history, or stories during car rides, or tales told while you're working on projects together. Ask them questions too. What do you think I should have done in that situation? Or, how do you think that made me feel? This makes them active participants in the storytelling process. Consider recording these stories. Write them down, make audio recordings, or better yet, record videos of yourself telling them. Your grandchildren might not appreciate these treasures now, but someday, when you're no longer here to tell the stories in person, these recordings will become family heirlooms more valuable than any money you could leave behind. Remember, every family story you tell is a thread that weaves your grandchildren more securely into the fabric of your family. You're not just sharing the past, you're giving them a foundation for their future. Habit number 3, learn their world instead of dismissing it. I'll be honest with you, when my grandson first tried to explain something called TikTok to me, my immediate reaction was to roll my eyes and mutter something about kids these days. But then I caught myself doing exactly what my own grandmother did when I tried to explain rock and roll to her. I was building a wall instead of building a bridge. Here's what changed everything for me. Instead of dismissing his interests, I asked him to teach me. I said, "Show me what you like about this, help me understand." What happened next was magical. His whole face lit up, and for the next hour, he patiently walked me through his world, explaining why certain videos were funny, what trends meant, and how his friends communicated through this platform I had written off as nonsense. The truth is, when we dismiss our grandchildren's interests, we're really saying, the things that matter to you don't matter to me. But when we show genuine curiosity about their world, we're saying, you matter to me, so what you care about matters to me too. This doesn't mean you have to become a teenager or pretend to love everything they love. It means approaching their interests with the same respect you'd want them to show your hobbies. If your grandchild is passionate about video games, instead of complaining about screen time, ask them to show you their favorite game. Let them teach you how to play. You might discover that many modern games require strategy, teamwork, and problem-solving skills that would impress you. Maybe they're into music you find too loud or strange. Ask them to play their favorite songs and explain what they like about the lyrics or the beat. You might not end up loving their music, but you'll understand something important about what speaks to them emotionally. The same goes for their fashion choices, their slang, their social media habits, or whatever else seems foreign to your generation. Instead of making jokes about kids these days, try phrases like, "Can you help me understand?" Or, "I'm curious about," or, "What do you like about?" This approach works both ways. When you show genuine interest in learning about their world, they become more curious about yours. The grandchild who teaches you about their favorite app might suddenly want to hear about what you did for fun when you were their age. The teenager who shows you their music might ask to hear the songs you loved at their age. But here's the crucial part. Your interest has to be genuine. Kids can smell fake enthusiasm from a mile away. If you're just going through the motions to get closer to them, they'll sense it and it will backfire. You have to truly believe that understanding their world is worth your time and attention. Sometimes, learning about their interests will genuinely surprise you. You might discover that the video game you thought was violent actually teaches history. The music you thought was just noise might have lyrics that address real social issues they care about. The social media platform you thought was shallow might be how they stay connected with friends who've moved away. Remember, every generation thinks the next generation's interests are strange or concerning. Your parents probably felt that way about some of your interests too. But the grandparents who build the strongest relationships are the ones who choose curiosity over judgment, questions over criticism, and connection over conflict. Habit number 4. Avoid competing with parents or undermining rules. This is where many well-meaning grandparents accidentally damage the very relationships they're trying to build. I've watched grandparents lose precious time with their grandchildren because they thought being the fun grandparent meant contradicting mom and dad's rules. Let me save you from this heartbreaking mistake. When you undermine your grandchild's parents, you're not being kind to your grandchild. You're putting them in an impossible position where they have to choose sides between people they love. Think about how confusing and stressful that is for a child. They love you, they love their parents, and suddenly they're caught in the middle of a loyalty battle they never asked to fight. Maybe the parents have rules about screen time, bedtimes, or candy before dinner. Your first instinct might be to say, "Oh, what they don't know won't hurt them," and let your grandchild stay up late or have extra treats. In the moment, you feel like the hero. But what you're actually doing is teaching your grandchild that rules don't matter, that some adults can't be trusted to keep their word, and that love means letting people do whatever they want. Even worse, when parents find out you've been undermining their rules, and they almost always find out, they start limiting your time with the grandchildren. They stop trusting you with overnight visits. They supervise your interactions more closely, and the natural, relaxed relationship you want becomes tense and artificial. I know a grandmother who thought she was being loving by always taking her granddaughter's side when the child complained about her parents' rules. "Your parents are too strict," she'd say. "When you're at grandma's house, we do things differently." She thought she was building a closer relationship with her granddaughter. But what actually happened was that the child became more difficult at home, constantly comparing her parents unfavorably to grandma. The parents eventually had to limit visits because the grandmother's undermining was making their job as parents much harder. Here's what respect looks like in practice. Before your grandchild visits, ask the parents about any specific rules or routines you should maintain. If bedtime is 8 p.m. at home, make it 8 p.m. at your house too. If they're not allowed to have soda, don't offer it. If they have chores or responsibilities, support those expectations. This doesn't mean you can't have special grandparent traditions. Maybe you always make pancakes for breakfast when they visit, or you have a special movie night routine. The key is that these special things don't contradict the parents' rules. They exist within the framework of respect for the family's boundaries. When your grandchild complains about their parents' rules, resist the urge to take sides. Instead, try responses like, "It sounds like you're frustrated. Have you talked to your parents about how you're feeling?" Or, "Your parents make rules because they love you and want to keep you safe." You can validate their feelings without undermining parental authority. Remember, the parents are raising these children 24/7, 365 days a year. They see the bigger picture, they know their child's specific needs and challenges, and they have to live with the consequences of the rules they set. Your job as a grandparent is to support their parenting, not compete with it. The most beloved grandparents are the ones who work as a team with the parents, who respect boundaries while still creating special memories, and who help reinforce the values and expectations that make family life work for everyone. Habit number 5, practice active, phone-free listening. Put your phone in another room, close the laptop, turn off the television. I'm serious about this. If you want to create a deep, lasting bond with your grandchildren, you have to give them something that's becoming increasingly rare in their world: your complete, undivided attention. Think about your grandchild's daily reality. At school, teachers are managing dozens of students. At home, parents are juggling work calls, household tasks, and multiple children. Even their friends are often distracted by their own devices. When was the last time an adult in their life put everything aside and focused entirely on them? You have the opportunity to be that adult. Active listening goes far beyond just not talking while they're speaking. It means making eye contact, leaning in, asking follow-up questions, and showing through your body language that what they're saying is the most important thing in your world right now. When your 6-year-old grandson starts telling you about the playground drama at school, don't half listen while thinking about dinner. Give him the same attention you'd give a dear friend sharing something important. Here's what active listening sounds like in practice. Instead of generic responses like, "That's nice, dear," or try specific follow-up questions. If your granddaughter mentions a friend, ask about that friend by name next time you talk. If your grandson describes a game he played, ask him to explain the rules to you. Show them that you remember the details of their stories, because those details matter to you. Pay attention to the emotions behind their words, not just the facts. If your grandchild is telling you about a fight with a friend, they might not need you to solve the problem. They might just need you to say, "That sounds really hurtful. It makes sense that you'd feel upset about that." Sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone is simply witnessing their experience and validating their feelings. Watch their body language too. Are they fidgeting because they're nervous about something? Are they avoiding eye contact because they're embarrassed? Are they bouncing with excitement about something they're dying to share? When you pay attention to these nonverbal cues, you can respond to what they really need, not just what they're saying out loud. Create phone-free zones and times when you're together. Maybe the dinner table is always device-free, or maybe the first 30 minutes of their visit is talk time before any screens come out. Make this a positive thing, not a punishment. Say something like, "I'm so excited to hear about your week, and I want to give you my full attention." Don't be afraid of silence either. Sometimes kids need time to process their thoughts before they share them. If you're always filling quiet moments with chatter, you might miss the moment when they're ready to tell you something really important. Comfortable silence shows them that they don't have to perform for your attention. They have it regardless. The beautiful thing about practicing active listening is that it creates a positive feedback loop. When children feel truly heard, they want to share more. They start saving up stories to tell you. They begin to see you as their safe person, the one who really understands them. And that's when the deepest conversations happen, the ones about their fears, their dreams, their questions about life. In a world full of distractions, your focused attention is a rare and precious gift that your grandchildren will remember long after childhood is over. Habit number 6, share your skills and hobbies as adventures. You have a lifetime of knowledge, skills, and hobbies sitting in your brain and hands, just waiting to be passed down. But here's the secret. Don't think of teaching your grandchildren your skills as lessons. Think of them as adventures you get to take together. I learned this from my neighbor Frank, who spent years trying to get his grandson interested in woodworking by explaining the importance of measuring twice and cutting once. The boy was polite but bored. Then one day, Frank changed his approach. He said, "Want to help me build a secret treasure box?" Suddenly, woodworking wasn't a lesson about precision. It was a mission to create something magical. That boy is now 25 and still has that treasure box, and he credits his grandfather with teaching him to work with his hands. The key is to start with projects that feel meaningful to your grandchild, not just meaningful to you. If you love to cook, don't start with lectures about nutrition. Start with, want to make cookies that will make your friends jealous. If you're a gardener, don't begin with soil composition. Begin with, let's grow something we can eat. Or, want to plant flowers that will attract butterflies? Think about what you do well and how it could become an adventure. Maybe you're excellent at organizing and could help them set up the perfect study space or organize their room in a way that makes them feel proud. Perhaps you're skilled at fixing things and could teach them how to repair something that's broken in their world. Maybe you're crafty and could help them make gifts for their friends or decorations for their room. The magic happens when you position yourself as their partner in the adventure, not their instructor. Instead of saying, here's how you do this, try saying, let's figure this out together, or what do you think we should try first? Even if you know exactly how to do something, letting them contribute ideas and make decisions keeps them engaged and builds their confidence. Don't worry about perfection. In fact, celebrate the mistakes and problem solving together. When something doesn't work out as planned, say, well, that's interesting. What should we try next? This teaches them that failure is just part of learning, and it makes the whole experience feel more like play than work. Make sure to create something they can keep, use, or share. Whether it's a knitted scarf, a wooden birdhouse, a batch of homemade jam, or a small garden, having a tangible result from your time together gives them lasting pride in what they accomplish with you. Every time they see or use what you made together, they'll remember the adventure of creating it. Document the process too. Take pictures of yourselves working together, of the mistakes and the successes, of their proud face when they master a new skill. These photos become treasures that capture not just what you made, but the joy of making it together. Remember, you're not just teaching them skills, you're teaching them that learning can be fun, that they're capable of creating beautiful things, and that spending time with you is an adventure worth having. Some of your grandchildren might not seem interested at first, but keep offering. Sometimes the child who seems least interested initially becomes the most passionate once they discover they have a talent for something you love. Habit number 7. Stop trying to fix everything and just be present. This might be the hardest habit of all, especially for those of us who've spent decades solving problems, raising children, and making things better. But sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do for your grandchild is absolutely nothing except be there with them in their experience. When your granddaughter comes to you in tears because her best friend is being mean, every instinct you have will scream at you to fix it. You'll want to call the school, talk to the other child's parents, or give a lecture about choosing better friends. But what she probably needs most is for you to sit with her while she cries, hand her a tissue and say, "That sounds really hard. I'm so sorry you're going through this." We grandparents have this deep desire to use our wisdom and experience to spare our grandchildren from pain. We've lived long enough to know that most childhood drama passes, that hurt feelings heal, and that today's crisis won't matter next week. But when we rush to minimize their problems or immediately offer solutions, we accidentally send the message that their feelings aren't valid or that they're not capable of handling challenges themselves. Think about it from their perspective. When they come to you with a problem and you immediately start fixing it, they learn that you don't trust them to handle difficulties. But when you sit with them in their struggle, ask questions about how they're feeling, and believe in their ability to figure things out, you're teaching them that they're strong enough to handle whatever life throws at them. This doesn't mean you never offer advice or help. It means you wait until they ask, or until you've fully listened and understood what they really need from you. Sometimes they need practical help, but often they just need someone to witness their experience and care about how they feel. Practice phrases like, "Tell me more about that. How did that make you feel?" And "What do you think you might do next?" Instead of jumping straight to, "Here's what you should do." Ask permission before offering advice. "Would you like some suggestions, or do you just need me to listen right now?" The same principle applies to their successes. When your grandson excitedly tells you about getting a good grade or making the team, resist the urge to immediately launch into advice about how to maintain that success or warnings about not getting overconfident. Just celebrate with him. Be excited because he's excited. Let him have his moment of pure joy without turning it into a teaching opportunity. Being present instead of fixing also means accepting your grandchildren exactly as they are right now, not constantly pushing them to be different or better. Maybe your granddaughter's going through a phase where she's grumpy and withdrawn. Instead of trying to cheer her up or change her mood, just be available. Let her know you're there if she needs you, but don't make it your mission to transform her into the cheerful child she used to be. The beautiful irony is that when you stop trying to fix everything, you often become the person your grandchildren turn to when they really do need help. They trust you with their problems because they know you won't minimize their feelings or take over their lives. They come to you for advice because they know you'll listen first and respect their ability to make their own decisions. Your presence, your attention, and your unconditional love are often the only fixes your grandchildren really need.